could you just like say your name, your job, and some things that you think would be interesting to hear?
I'm David Matsuda. So I'm an electrical engineer. I went to University of Washington, got my bachelor's and master's degree there. After graduating, I went to the banking industry. I learned to do business and program management and project management until I came back to Hawaii when I worked at the shipyard. Currently, I'm what they call a division head, so I oversee 80 people, 80 engineers, and we would do maintenance on submarines, and we would work on modernization or upkeep or just a lot of troubleshooting, things like that on these huge nuclear subs. Those are the kind of things that we worked on, so like a partial industrial work site and then also a professional work site.
Yeah, I'm David Darby. Also work at Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard. I've been there since 2012, but in 2019, I left the shipyard. I went to work in San Francisco to work in tech. Work for this self-driving car company. It's called Cruise. Owned by Google right now, right? So work for them as a fleet reliability engineer. And then COVID happened during that time, so I came back, and yeah, that was probably one of the best decisions I made. Came back, and now instead of just doing the day-to-day stuff that we did on the submarine, basically just repairing and troubleshooting and fixing, I'm also doing one more thing on the side right now. It's an actual tech company right now. It's a startup. It's called Patterson Aerospace. So basically what we're trying to do is basically kind of similar to an autonomous vehicle where you're seeing your surroundings around. We're going to send a similar thing to space to detect space debris. So the big problem is that, okay, if there's a cloud of debris, how do we send up rockets now? What this product is supposed to do is detect all of the debris and track them in more real time, because right now there's no solution for that.
When you do get into like hundreds of engineers, how do you like wrangle them all?
It's not going to be one person manage 100 people themselves. It's going to be one person will kind of talk and manage maybe 3 or 4 that they trust, and then that 3 or 4 will manage 10 or 5 or 2 maybe, depending how you're broken up.
Right now we have our structure kind of breaking up into mechanical and electrical.
Right.
Would you recommend kind of breaking more into projects or keeping it more like specialized?
If you break it up by a system, you'll understand how one component affects another. So if we all had a string and we're all different disciplines, and if I was electrical and I pull that string, it's gonna pull on everybody else, right? And how do you determine then how much pull is gonna affect everyone else's discipline unless we are working together? I do think it does help to pull teams together. That way you get different perspectives.
Our the main design that happens in the shop is online, like WeCAD. And do you guys do that? And if so, like what platform do you use?
So yeah, industry standard I think is still Solid Edge or SolidWorks.
To get done with CAD, have you kind of transitioned to your testing and prototyping phase before you actually get into a finalized design?
Before going to a final design, it usually takes something that's a lot more cost effective, so that you can at least see what you're looking at, because something on a computer by something in hand feels different. And then once you finally get something available, then you can kind of line it up or see how it's gonna operate, then you can finalize it with something more rigid and more robust. Only thing is now we're dealing with steam, so it's hot, and you have 3D printed material. It may not always last more than one cycle. So that's where the fit up comes in.
Like, what does the current engineering field look like? What do you think the future will look like?
And noticing in the field, because of recruiting, the field that or the discipline of engineering that is a high commodity is electrical computer. There's a shortage of it. And I mean, it's not because there's no one going into it, it's just because that market is booming. You have AI, you have machine learning, you have a lot of things that require coding or electrical computing.
Engineering, just as a whole, engineering is one of the leading jobs, in the world right now, especially software. The jobs that will stay around, civil engineering jobs, those will always be here. Roads always break, and look at the potholes that we get on H1, So.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Of course.